Morning, everybody. It is 8:17 a.m. A little late. Had to help my daughter with her asthma. And welcome. It is February 2nd. Crazy, crazy reversal day. Market went down. Fed took the rate cuts off the table pretty much for March. We only got one day of weakness. We came back up, had a strong open, and then we went back down, and that was it. And then what do you know? Meta blows it out of the water. Amazon also beats. Apple misses. Well, Apple missed with China numbers, right? And Meta's up 17% right now. That's crazy. Okay. Helping to fuel this rally even higher after the close. Okay. So, pretty crazy. It pretty much took away all the selling from the previous day. Pretty nuts, right? Now, the one tell was the 10-year yield the day before when I was like, what the heck? I was actually talking to my friend Rosa, and I was like, that 10-year yield cratered when the Fed took rate cuts off the table. That was kind of weird. Well, bond market's always a smart one, right? So, anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use volume profile, market profile to find structure in this market. Also, supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, anchor VWAPs, and I use volume profile for the composite high volume nodes, which would be the year, the rolling month, the rolling week, and the previous day. And it just makes me look at the market very easily. It's very, very easy to look and find a plan with all these things on my charts, and I try to have them all line up. That's when the best trades happen. Actually took a short yesterday based right off the pre-market plan when it was beautiful because the SPY and the Qs, ES and the NASDAQ, both came back up to the 50% of the move. And it happened to be the gamma flip point in the Qs and a gamma level in the SPY. It was like perfect setup. And once that little morning strength happened, you had overnight that was long. And what happened is you take care of old business before new business. And that's when the market sold off. I rode that all the way down to the lows. And then I was done for the day. And then obviously the market went crazy up after that point. That's just what I did. Subscribe, set an alert if you haven't already. All right. Hopefully you like what you see. And if you could follow me on X, that's at Gonzo719. Now let's get into the futures. Let's see what we have going here. Now we got non-farm payrolls at 8:30 and unemployment. Okay, so let's look at futures together. Now Meta and Amazon reported big beats. So Nasdaq's up 1%. Okay. Apple's down. But because Meta and Amazon are up, it helped out the market, right? Now the 10-year yield, interesting. 10-year yield is up 0.67. Now, here we are again. Is the 10-year yield, the bond market, tipping its hand a little bit, showing its hand? And these numbers, they're expecting to be bearish, right? Now, these numbers are always jacked up. They get revised, but it doesn't matter. The market moves off the numbers that come out. They always get revised. So, remember, it's an election year. And the president would like to have you beat and add more jobs. Okay? So, that looks good for the president. So, that's why we get so many beats. All right? Unemployment has really not even softened at all. Okay? That's another thing. Okay? These numbers are all wacky, but you have to trade off the numbers we see. Doesn't matter when you dig in the numbers, that's not what they are. So that's very interesting. The 10-year yield is higher right now. Now ES up 0.59, Ether's up 0.59, Russell's up 0.17, Bitcoin's up 0.16, the Dow's up 0.08. Gold is pretty much flat going into these non-farm payrolls. It makes sense, right? Gold is pretty much flat going into the non-farm payrolls, unemployment. So bonds, see, 30-year bonds being sold. The VIX down 0.43. Crude's down 0.61. Crude, unbelievable, right? I feel like it's still bottomed out, but now I had a nice pullback. So I'd like to see some strength now after this. We'll have to see. Okay, let's move on to the Mag 7 plus additional. Okay, let's see who's leading the pack. There's no surprise here. Meta up 17.18%. Amazon's up 7%. Snow 4.43. Obviously in sympathy. That's a cloud. AWS, Snow. All right, AMD. It's just unbelievable. It is up 2.39%. Nvidia's up 1.85. Coins up 1.32. Roblox up 1.22. Microsoft up 1.14. All right. Now, lagger, we have Tesla. What a dog Tesla is, right? 0.67. Apple is down 2.88 based on China weakness. Okay, that is that. Now let's go on to the top sector stocks. Top sector stocks. Salesforce up 1.24. All right, then you got Chevron reported earnings. Eli Lilly up 0.31. Visa up 0.29. Walmart up 0.21. Remember, 3-to-1 stock split coming up. I just saw Disney's going to put something out on the Vision Pro for Apple. All right, let's see the laggards, which isn't much here. I wouldn't even call them laggards. Exxon reported as well. They're down 0.15. Let's go to my swing stocks here and see who's the leaders there. Clorox. Now, if you look at Clorox, okay, I've been stalking this thing. It had a huge base that it was coiling. And I was like, man, this thing's ready to roll. This thing's ready to rock. But then earnings were coming up. So I was like, man, well, they beat. And they're up 6.6%. Shopify up 4.93%. Datadog up 4.02. Trade Desk up 3.91. Arista down up 3.73. This Veritiv, this is I think electrical equipment. This is up 3.18. Supermicro Computers up 2.72. Palantir got some deal with somebody in Australia. Celsius, what else here? Got some semis. I think that's Bank of New York. No, can't remember what that is now. Oh, Bristol Myers Squibb. They had good earnings. All right, that's enough of that. Let's look at laggards. All right, Charter is down 8.59. They reported earnings. Skechers, I believe, reported earnings. So these are all big down losers. Atlassian here, I was really liking them for a long, but then earnings came out and they didn't do so well. Intel, some plant in Ohio for semis, is getting a delay from chip demand weakening. And then you have Airbnb. Those are the weakness. That's not a lot, though. That is not a lot. Okay, let's move on to top sectors, and we go to the sectors. All right, let's move on to sectors. And the leader of the pack is, no surprise, communications with Meta, followed by discretionary, which is Tesla and Amazon. Well, obviously Amazon, really, because Tesla's not down. And semis, there's no laggard. There's no laggard sector. All right, now we can move on to some news. Everybody knows about the earnings, of course. But in 4 minutes, we will have non-farm payrolls and unemployment. Okay, so we are expecting 175,000 jobs added. All right, previously it was 216. Okay, so 175 is the mark. If this number gets blown out of the water, that would be bearish. In a normal economy, that would be great. Okay, you want a reason for the Fed to cut. Okay, unemployment. Okay, if this number goes down, we're expecting 3.7. Previous was 3.7. If this number goes down, that should be bearish. Okay? If unemployment goes down, this should be bearish. So we were 3.6, 3.5, that will be bearish. Plus a hot number, that will be bearish. Okay? If unemployment really stays the same, I think it's a nothing burger. If unemployment goes up, that's bullish. Okay, just like non-farm payrolls, if it's a miss, if it's soft, that will be bullish. Okay, then you got Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. I'd stay away from a day trade. Entering a day trade at 10 a.m. It's going to be volatile. It's going to be volatile. All right. Any other news that I've talked about? Meta, we talked about. I pretty much cleared up all this. There's that Bristol Myers Squibb. Pretty much talked about all that. Doesn't really get into that. Let's see, the juice got anything? Not really. I mean, we got that news drop in 2 minutes. We might as well go right to the daily charts here. And just look at them really quickly before this news drops. All right. What do we do? What do we do? Here we go. Let's go from here. All right. So yesterday, look, we went up to last week's highs. That's where we closed. Okay. That's where we closed. Last week's highs. Where are we at now? 492.15. We're gapping up all the way up to almost all-time highs. Okay, almost to last month's highs. So pretty bullish. Okay, the Qs are weaker, meaning in structure here. You can see they're much down lower. What did they do? They didn't even take out yet the previous day's highs, right? But where are we now? 426.17, 426. Jeez, monster move. Right in the middle of this range. Okay, so not as bullish, and you're going to get caught right into this middle of this range. It's going to be a high volume area, so that makes sense why it's there. Okay, it's got room to bust out of these. All these shorts here have not been hurt yet. Okay, now real quickly we can go over and look at the dual screen I have for the news to drop here. All right, news dropped. Let's see. These are both markets side by side. Let's see right here. These are 30-minute bars side by side. Here's the Nasdaq. Here's the ES. So far bearish. Okay, so let's look at what dropped. Okay, so far the market's kind of falling apart a little bit. I'm assuming what I said before happened. All right, let's look at this together. All right, so non-farm. Oh my God, that is a monster number for employment. That is bearish. Okay, consensus forecast was a 175. We added 353. Remember what I said? Presidential year. All right, it's a presidential. It's an election year. 353,000 jobs added. Okay, unemployment stayed the same at 3.7. So that is a monster beat. And you looking for cuts? You think the Fed's gonna cut when you're adding that many jobs? Again, these numbers are probably most likely fake, but a Fed's not gonna cut if unemployment is not changing and you're adding that many jobs. It's almost double. Crazy. This market's nuts. This market's crazy. All right. Look at that, just pushing down. Now again, this market's nuts. All right. So this could be a nothing burger. Eventually this could be whipped out the longs. All right. But it would be, if you stay down here, it could be very people get nervous about these numbers and take their profits, because that's crazy, that number. Now again, we could ignore this and just move higher later, okay? But you definitely took out all the overnight longs. They are taken out, okay? So that is huge beat. That is crazy. That's just crazy. Now I know the Fed was talking the other day, and they're like not that concentrated. They were actually saying they're not really looking at the unemployment as much anymore. They're more based on inflation. But this is still, I mean, you're gonna cut rates. So, um, give me a sec. I'm gonna switch over. So we're gonna look at structure now. It's a little harder to work on structure because you got to work this off, these numbers off. Okay. So if we look at the market profile now, it's a little harder to do scenarios because this number's we gotta digest this number. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you something. Now this profile is really gonna come in handy here. All right. So let's look at this together. Okay. This profile has a bullish imbalance to it, which just means it's ready to pop, right? So look, you got a profile here, you got a distribution here, you got value area, right? We're back at value area. Okay, look at this top. Okay, that means, let me lower this down. What this means, this is what's beautiful about the profile, really quickly, this is not a complete profile, okay? Very bullish imbalance, very balanced to the top, okay? What that means is usually a profile always has excess to the top. So this is just queued up for a breakout to the upside, okay? Because look, you have these shorts here that weren't hurt yesterday, but the overnight came up here. Didn't fully hurt them yet. Okay, so you have this bullish imbalance to this profile. Okay, very key to look at. Okay, most traded price did move up yesterday, 49.48 right here. Okay, price is below it. Most traded price of the month is here, 49.16. This is not a great area actually to be in when you're in between the most traded price of the week and the month. Inside here is probably chop fest, but below it and above it is a move gonna happen. Okay, now we were gapping up, we are no longer gapping up in futures. Okay, we're going back into the range. Now there is a little spike here because we close at the highs here. Right here is the spike. Now we've been talking about spikes every day. Now, really quickly, here's price. Okay, and now we're going to do this again. Here's the 50% of the move yesterday, 49.10. Happens to line up with the most traded price of the month, week to date VWAP. Okay, week to date VWAP and 49.16. So this area is the bulls to defend. And look, if you go a little lower, you got a nice little demand zone there. And guess who? Monthly VWAP. So that's just a lot of confluence that will be hard for the market to cut back through. Okay, I expect to get support there. All right. Now, if you look at the overnight, okay, we're pushing towards the lows, and the market's definitely not liking it. These numbers. Now, this could be this could be a little blow-offy, toppy. Okay, if we kind of came up here in the overnight and we're gonna whip back, if we whip back again, oh my God, that'd be crazy. So I'm going to try to get this scenario for everybody here. Okay, so this is the overnight high, and it's poor. Poor overnight high means you got a double top there, and now we're at the lows. Now you did have prior, you 100% net long overnight. Well, guess what? They got taken out with that news. Okay? This is why it's so crazy. I haven't been putting trades on to overnights because all this news. Now, again, this can rip back up and the market not make sense. Right? It could definitely do that. Now, what are we going to plan for here? Okay? Like I said, this area is a little choppy here. Okay? But you have to play it. You got a little pocket of here. That's this move. Okay? Now, so how do we look at this? Remember, I think all here is for the bulls to defend. Okay? If you take some froth off this, this is going to get defended. Okay? So let's just go right into scenarios. Okay? Right into scenarios right away. And what I'm seeing here. Okay? Now, for the bullish play. Okay? There's a couple scenarios here. Okay? Now, what I'd like to see, okay, got the weakness of this news. Could make people nervous off the open, okay, and take their profits. If you're in meta and you did it as a trade, you want to take those profits, okay? So what I think could happen in Amazon, right, is we push down and we come down here, okay, to the most traded price, 49.16. And this happens to also be week-to-date VWAP. Buyers are in control for this week, okay? Happens to also be demand zone here. Most traded price. There's just so much there. I just talked about it before, okay? Monthly VWAPs also here, okay? So whatever we do in this area, I'm really going to watch to see how we react. Could we come in here, do a little berry trap? Who doesn't know the demands here? Push above 49.16, hold it and hold it and hold it. Now, there's your move, okay? You'd probably get a little resistance here, but if you pop above here, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go higher. You're going to take this profile and make excess. Okay? That will be the fuel for this to go higher. Okay? Because you also got these highs that haven't really been hurt, and now you have a poor high at the overnight. Okay, you have some excess happening now. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. Now, for the short. Okay, for the short. Obviously, you can stay below this most traded price as well. Okay. If you come above here and you can't, even if you tap this overnight high and you start to get weakness and you come through this most traded price of the week, you could definitely come down and test the 49.16 level. Okay. Now, this would be very, very hard to take all this out. That's why I said I like the long. However, if we do take out 49.16 and these VWAPs and you crack, you're going to go down all the way down here and you could make a big move. Like I said, I lean more towards this being defended, but you have to have this in the cards. Okay? You have to have it in the cards. Now, let's look at the NASDAQ together. Let's see how that picture looks for the NASDAQ. Okay, remember, they have not taken out their shorts yet. They're weaker. They've been weaker. Okay, even with Meta and everything, right? So let's look at the structure together. See, you don't have that bullish imbalance as much. You have really a double distribution in the NASDAQ. You have a distribution here, then you have a little pocket, and then you have another distribution. It's almost like two different profiles. And you're really in the midpoint of this week. Right? So it's not as strong, even though Meta and Amazon are crushing it. Okay? Now we're not gapping anymore. We're right at the highs. Okay, so here's the spike. And the prices are here. So still, market's accepting the higher prices. Remember, we just got bearish news, which could turn bullish, right? We just got bearish news. We're kind of flat right now. Okay, got a balanced profile. Not a lot of edge there. You were 100% net long. Now you're not. Okay, 50% of yesterday's moves, 174.10. Okay, that would be kind of a deep pullback. Okay, now you don't have the same levels like you did in the ES. So right now the ES I like better. SPY ES. Okay, for this play. Look what happened. You came right into supply here. Okay, you don't have much to battle with as far as in the ES, but the Nasdaq, you got a lot of activity over here to the left. Okay, that you have not hurt yet. Shorts that you've not hurt yet. So, a couple things we got to look at here. Okay, most trader prices here of the week. That's 173.45. That's still down here. Okay, easily can move back up here. So right now, off the bat, I don't like the Nasdaq setup as much. I really don't like it as much. Okay, but let's talk about it. Okay, so what I see here is the only thing I can see is this week to date VWAP. All right, that has to get defended by the bulls. All right, that's why that's only that one thing. Maybe the 90-minute daily, it's probably not there right now. That's the only thing I really see here, right? So I don't like it as much. Okay, it would have to work its way down to monthly VWAP and the most trader price, and possibly down here, but that's weak, right? So I'm not loving it as much. All right, so let's go over the scenario. All right, so what I could see happen: open up, push up, come down. Now these are like single prints here. Okay, this spike. If the spike gets defended, even if we come back down, hit off the week to date VWAP, that could be the fuel higher. Now you have supplies overhead. I have overhead supply here. That's a lot of that. That's why I don't like it as much. Okay, I don't really like it as much. And then you have the strong strength in the Meta and the Amazon that they're possibly could profit taking off the bat. Okay, so at the bearish play, you obviously, even if you came down here, it doesn't matter. Come down here, you can go up here, hit the supply, get some weakness, come all the way down here, and then you get tested here. Weekly day view up. If you break that, you got monthly view up, and you can possibly go down to the most traded price of the week. And you hit down here, I would expect definitely to get support. Okay, I don't really like this, any of this right now, how this is set up at all. Not at all. It doesn't have a lot of structure like the ES did. So this is definitely not the easy play. You got Apple, it's weak, right? It's kind of conflicted. Now in the ES, it's just got a lot of easier, support here. Obviously, if I see strength in the Qs, obviously that's going to be confirmation for a long here. So I just like the ES a lot better. All right, I wouldn't say it's a home run, but I like it better. All right, that was going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So subscribe. I don't know why that's not showing up. There we go. Subscribe. Set an alert if you haven't already. All right. And please give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. And you can follow me on X. That's at Gonzo719. All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay green. Stay patient. All right. Let the market digest this news. It could be an easy liquidity grab real quick, flush out these guys, and then get long, right? Because people are like, ooh, this is bearish news, right? You just gotta wait and see. All right. So everybody have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.